Are you looking for an internet talk radio station for your podcast? Look no further. At the helm of Passionate World Talk Radio are two women that want to provide a spot for you and your podcast to be heard. There are many other places for your podcast, but PWTR has the audience. You will not be disappointed. Our station has been on the internet for the past 16 years. Call us for more information. 484-364-1032 or text Jeannie White, station manager at PHECONNECTSHOW for podcast show details. Welcome to Passionate World Talk Radio. Educate, enlighten, entertain.
Hello, everyone. This is Betsy Wurzel, your host of Chatting with Betsy at Passionate World Talk Radio, where our mantra is to educate, enlighten, and entertain. The views of the host may not represent those of the views of the guests may not represent those of the host or the station. I got to get that straight. Folks, do you have trouble connecting? With others? Do you follow your values? Do you know what your values are? You're going to want to listen to my guest today. With me today is Marilyn Sutherland, who is author of Why Did You Load the Dishwasher Like That? 9 Whopping Mistakes That Push Love Away. Marilyn is a relationship and communication coach and consultant for over 23 years. Marilyn was happily single until age 49 when she finally met a man who was a match for her. Now, after 23 years of marriage, she now coaches professional women in how to show up confident and loving with the people they care about. Marilyn will be talking about intentionally connecting with others, knowing your values, and living in the energy of love. And don't we need that today? Marilyn also has a business, Love Lead Connect, which I highly recommend to check out Marilyn's website. Thank you, Marilyn Sutherland, for coming on Chatting with Betsy.
Thank you, Betsy. It's fun to be back. I can't believe it's been a year, basically, since
wow.
Time. Yeah.
Time sure flies, as we were talking about earlier. Marilyn, I think people want to connect to others. They might have a little difficulty. But can you tell us, what do you mean by the energy of love and the energy of fear? Because I know a lot of people are fearful about reaching out to people in love.
I think most of us live in the energy of fear a lot of the time. And Lord knows, we just went through a pandemic. We're not out completely. There's still a lot of uncertainty. And now we have the war in Ukraine. And I have family there. But I can't really think about it. It's scary. But a lot of us, we live in the energy of the news and politics, and we get all charged up. We're angry. We don't feel heard or seen. And that, one, it ages us. It agitates us. And secondly, we're not our best. We're not connecting with people. We push people away when we're in the energy of fear. It can be anger. It can be fear. It can be hurt. We can withdraw rather than having the other people push us away.
Yes, I think sometimes, Marilyn, like I know myself, sometimes I think people don't realize they're pushing people away or that they're attracting that which they don't want to attract. I've heard it said, if you're looking for a mate, a partner, don't think about what you don't want because that's what you'll attract. Think about what you do want.
Exactly. Yeah. I agree with that completely. Yeah, what we focus on goes stronger. if it's just natural, our brain will, whatever we practice, whatever we do, our brain goes, oh, this is a habit. I should remember this. And it puts a groove in your brain. I mean, not literally, but, there's neural pathways. So when you get triggered, you have an automatic response. And it doesn't take that long for our brains to do that. It takes more effort to create a new habit of thinking or acting or feeling that then will be the automatic way. And that's what we want. We want healthy habits to be automatic. We don't want the ones that are reactive and coming from fear. And
that's
a lot
true.
of people live like that, and they don't know, and we blame other people. Like, why are you mean to me? I don't know if I told this a year ago. I didn't go back and listen, but it makes me think about this story. Wayne Dyer, who's a personal development guru who passed away more than a few years ago now, he was doing a talk on the stage, and he brought a teenager up, and he did this more than once. And he gave the orange to the teen, and he said, "What do you get when you squeeze an orange?" And they said, "Orange juice." And he went, "That's right. Why do you get orange juice?" And the kid said, "Because that's what's in the orange." And then Dr. Dyer turned to the audience and he said, "The question is, what comes out of you when you get squeezed? What comes out of you is what's there. They didn't do it to you. They triggered it. And if they did it on purpose, whatever, shame on them." He didn't say that, but I will. But kind of shame on them. But if it comes out of you, it's in you. So if you're hurt, if your automatic reaction is anger or fear or hurt, you learned that as a way to survive your childhood. And that's what's going to come out unless you're awake to how you're acting. And most of us, we are so overwhelmed with, how many unread emails do most of us have? All the, the bombardment of news. If we listen or watch, we get on Facebook and we see all these people looking like they have wonderful lives, and we're like, whoa, where did I go wrong? Whatever. People are dressed gorgeous, and you're in shorts or your pajama bottoms and a T-shirt on top. So no one knows you're still in your PJs. And then you look at these people who are dressed to the nines, and you're like, oh, my gosh. So we have all these messages coming at us. So if we're not intentional about how we're connecting, our frustration, our hurt, not even with them, but just overall, our disappointments, those are living our life.
Yes, that's true. I heard someone say, actually the pastor of church, say that if you want to know what's really in a person, shake them up with certain situations and see what spills out. Basically the same thing. And that's,
wow.
And that's
true.
It's very true. And I think people, you're right. I know I had to retrain myself, because sometimes when someone triggers us, we don't know where that trigger is coming from. Then we react with anger when we should be reacting in love. And before we react, we should think, why am I triggered? Maybe it's
yes.
an old habit of something. If someone criticizes you, you might think of your mother or your father, and that might cause that trigger to respond in anger and in fear.
Exactly. And that, so much of it goes back to our childhood. We were, if your parents fought, maybe there wasn't abuse, but they just yelled, and you're a sensitive soul, and you were scared. You might have hidden your closet or under your bed, or ran outside, to get in nature and get away from the house or whatever. Sometimes people love something because they did it as an escape when they were a kid. It wasn't they were running towards it from love, but they were like, I got to get out of the house. I'm afraid. And they go run out and they bike. Now they're bikers. Maybe they're even Olympic athletes, an Olympic runner, because when they ran, they felt free, and they felt safe. Who knows? We're, in a way it's simple, and in a way it's complicated to understand why we do what we do. But the bottom line is, I believe we're all wounded. Nobody gets out. Nobody gets out without having wounds.
It's true.
Someone looks at you funny. The boy you liked or the girl you liked when you were in junior high didn't know you or didn't like you. You still carry that heartbreak. If you were heartbroken, even for a week, there's a remnant of that. So, it's and what you said is the energy of love. The energy of love isn't just being loving. It's being kind or curious or grateful or interested, caring. When we see a homeless person, I saw a guy a couple days ago, and he was walking away from me, a homeless guy, and the whole back of his pant, he had shorts underneath, but the whole back of his pant was ripped. I was just like, oh my God, that poor guy. And we're in Dallas, so it's not freezing like 30 degrees, that it's 50 degrees at night sometimes, and I just felt compassion for him. And I've been working on that myself. I've always been loving and caring, but I still have that anger rise up or that frustration rise up in the moment. But I'm really trying to tune in to what's the energy I'm living from. And it's a habit that when we stop and see what we're doing, we can have that opportunity to begin to make a shift. It doesn't have to be perfect. Anything that moves from fear to love, just feeling some kindness or concern for not wanting to win, like giving up trying to win every argument. That's how you push love away. Because if you win, they lose. Everyone loses. And there's no love in a game of winners and losers, unless people don't care about the game and it's just for fun. But most of the time when we're winning, we're trying to win the fight. I'm right and you're wrong, and you're an idiot.
Yes, and how we come across, with people. I'm learning a lot more lately, actually, with different hosts and guests that I have had on about, relationships and, finding, we write in your story, that we're not what people said that we were. It's funny that you mentioned, I have to laugh, Marilyn. You described my home, my parents, talking about your parents yelling. I could hear my parents from down the block. I'd be so embarrassed.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
Come from a loud family, and my son and I, we were in the mall Saturday, and I'm very aware of when people have a problem. And I saw this elderly man. I don't know if anyone was with him, but the way he was walking was like someone who has Parkinson's. And I'm thinking, where is somebody to help this man? Like, why is he even in a mall by himself? I live in New Jersey. If you don't move fast in New Jersey, you're going to get trampled. They'll run you over. They don't care. And the mall was crowded. And he just looked lost. And I think somebody was with him, but they weren't paying attention to him. And, and then I think about, I said to my son, look at that poor man. And I tried looking to see if he was with anybody, but then I lost sight of him. I couldn't leave the area, or I would have, helped him. But it just broke my heart.
Yeah.
Of saying that, and how we react to people, and I know you're a relationship coach also, Marilyn, but I have learned through different people who I have heard, we carry our baggage around from relationship to relationship. We think this person might make us happy, but really that person can't make us happy. We have to make ourselves happy. That's our responsibility, and not the other person's.
Yes.
And I think that's what I know I had trouble with that with basically most of my life, thinking, oh, this will make me happy, or this person will make me happy, when really that was my job. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Most people come into a relationship and expect that other people will see them and do what they want, or they won't. And so they come in knowing it's not going to work. Just as another point that's related to this is most of my women clients are pleasers. And that's one of the whopping mistakes I talk about in my book. And when you're a pleaser, you want to get seen, loved, known, just notice me, like me. And this starts when we're kids, sometimes very little. If our parents are preoccupied with other stuff and we just want them to see us, we'll be really, really good. We'll wait on our mom or our dad. We'll do whatever they ask us to do. We won't complain. And then others are rebels. But the pleasers, most women have that in them to some degree, and many a lot. They will put up with stuff when they get out of it, like abusive relationships or jobs where the boss is horrible and where there's no respect or honor, and they stay because they don't think they're worthy of it, because they didn't get the love they wanted as a kid or something else happened. And so you're trying to please other people, and you give and give and give, and you never get back. You never ask for anything. People aren't mind readers. They don't know. If you say yes when you mean no, they don't know that. You have to say no. I can't do that. I'd love to help you, but I haven't had a weekend off in 3 months. I'm going to stay home this weekend. I'm sorry. You can, ask someone, ask and see if a neighbor will go and order stuff for you, or tell me what your order is, and give me your credit card, and I'll do an online order and have it delivered to your house. But I'm not going to go shopping this weekend. I need to rest. What are they going to say? You selfish person? You just say, well, this is my first weekend in months, so I don't think I'm selfish. I'm sorry. I can't help you. Whatever. You set boundaries. But when we say yes and we mean no, people are not mind readers. And we've trained them. My word doesn't matter. What you say is more important to me than what I say. So off they go, asking and asking.
Yes, that's true, Marilyn. I really think that people, and I know that I was a people pleaser, I think people, or especially women, who were abused in a family environment, or more prone to be pleasers and more prone to be abused by other people, because that's what they're used to. That's what they think they deserve, when they deserve so much more. And they have to discover that for themselves. Like, oh, I do deserve to be treated with respect. And, when people start standing up, I know I've experienced this in my own life, when you start standing up for yourself, people will not like it, because those who have abused you won't like that they cannot do that anymore, because you're setting boundaries now. And it's not easy. It takes a lot of inner work. And this is why there's people such as yourself who will help people to be able to do that. And it's never too late. I always tell the audience it's never too late to change. No matter how old you are, you have a right to improve on yourself and to be treated with love and respect, and to give that to others.
Exactly.
Very much so. How do you help your clients, Marilyn?
Just you said something. this isn't what I would have normally answered, but what you just said really, I wasn't thinking about saying this, but I will. I do a discovery session with people where I ask them what their challenges are in relationships, very specifically, with who and what happens, and then what's their dream result. And then I have an assessment, a relationship assessment of skills, 15 skills that we need. It's not all of them, but it's a big bulk of them. Things like knowing how and when to trust, speaking up, setting boundaries, making requests. If you don't know you have a voice, you're not going to set a boundary, and you're not going to ask for what you want. Acceptance and forgiveness, self-love, self-confidence, managing your emotions, handling conflict. These are skills we don't learn in school. And somehow, my mom was great at relationships, and I learned a lot from her. I don't really know, but I was just like a natural connector. And part of that, I think maybe when I was little, I wanted to connect with people. I wanted to be seen. I would walk down the street and say, I can sing and I can dance, when I was like 4 and 5, and would perform for people. But I loved connecting. I'm still that way now. I don't walk down the street and say that. But I do love to connect with people. It's one of my values. And I think it's so important that we know and we can honestly admit, I'm not good at these skills. Because if you know you're not good at them, you have the opening and the willingness to learn. You can improve your capacity to engage with people. But if you're living in fear and you feel ashamed that you're not good, you don't want to have conflict, you don't know how to manage it, you don't know what to say, you feel stupid, you avoid it, it just makes things worse. There's no way out of that. And so, you know,
that's right.
It's important if you know you want better connections, and you know you don't know how to get there, get support. Get support. I have a program that's just, it's called Relationship School. It's twice a month for 90 minutes. I was going to talk about this maybe at the end, but anyway, here I go. And I teach a different lesson every week, every time. And then people have a little breakout session and they practice or explore or reflect a little so that feel more comfortable. And then when they go out in their life for the 2 weeks or whatever the break is, then they don't feel like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. And people can, you know, ask for support, text me, I don't understand this. So what happens is, amazingly, like, without intentionally, like, working on all these things, we just cover them and people are thinking about them and they're in the soup of relationship skills and awareness and kindness to yourself and kindness from others and owning when they react. We're all human. We're not perfect. I react. And what happens is, over time, your skills up-level. You have more capacity. If you know you deserve to ask for what you want and to be treated with kindness, then you're going to ask for things and you're more likely to get them, and you will feel better about people. You will trust people because you asked them for what you wanted instead of implying it or wishing or having expectations. They don't know that. Now you're disappointed and you don't trust them. They don't care about you. You didn't let them know what you wanted. So once you start to ask for what you want, you can get what you want, that you can build trust with people. You have more confidence in yourself. You can set boundaries. You feel safer. You can relax. You can take risks that you wouldn't take when you were just trying to make sure that you were safe, because safety is so important. And a lot of us are still trying to get safe from things that happen in childhood. So, anyway, it's like and everything fits together, but all you need is just a desire to intentionally connect. Let me just say a little bit about So what it means is when you're with someone, you're looking at them. You put your phone down or you turn your phone off. If someone in your family wants to talk to you or a colleague, you're not looking at your phone. You're with them. You're present. When they say something, you smile, you nod, you ask questions, you're curious. Like that, we've lost a lot of that with phones.
Yes, we have. Thank you for mentioning that.
Yes, yeah. You see people texting each other at the table at a restaurant.
Yes.
Rather than putting your phone down and having a conversation or a dinner. So I really worry about the younger kids not having the kinds of skills that they need to navigate difficult relationships, like work. If you're a pleaser and you're a boss, you're a supervisor, good luck. If you're not working on on being able to, hold people to account in a caring way. So, yeah, I worry about that. So, yeah, intentional connection is so important. It's how we build trust with people. If we don't have if we're not intentionally connecting, most of us are not naturally going to draw people into us in an authentic way, unless we're a pleaser. And then at some point we'll hate them because we're giving and giving, as I said before. So that's not a strategy either, but it can look like one. I'll just be really nice to people. No, you have to be authentic. And to be authentic, you have to know yourself. So that takes me to values, the values, which you mentioned at the beginning. So what do values have to do with intentional connection? So if you say you want to be loving or kind to people, but you're defensive when anyone asks about why you're doing something or how you're doing it, like the title of my book, why are you loading the dishwasher like that? Never thought of that. Oh, well, is there something wrong with it? Do you want to just do it? Or, you're already angry. That maybe you really are doing it in a different way, or maybe you're not. Maybe you're being sarcastic, and that's one of the whopping mistakes. But we're already defending ourselves. We don't have to defend ourselves. We could be curious. Most of the time, other people are also defending themselves. If everyone's defending, we're in a little mini war or a skirmish, and no one's going to win. But somebody has to break that. So knowing your values helps you to know how you want to show up in life and how you make decisions. So if you say family's important, my family's really important, but you're a workaholic, maybe that's not the way to express it, because when you tell your family you're important, I value my family, and then you're not there for dinner lots of times. Maybe you value financial security more for your family, and you tell them, hey, I would like to spend time with you, but I got to work overtime so I can pay for the band or or your art class. So, and then you need to make sure you make time on the weekend and intentionally connect with your family. Because that's how wounds, little subtle things like that, that's how wounds happen. And often in more traditional families, the men who are the workers and aren't really good at relationship just work really hard. They think they're showing how much they love their family, but all that everybody wants is them to be present, and they're not present. I think that's changing a lot with the women in the workforce now, and it's very, very different. But still, whoever is the person who's doing the work and busy and bringing in the money, you have to be conscious of how that's impacting the people you care about, and somehow finding moments when you can intentionally connect so they know you care. Same with your friends, your parents, and your colleagues at work. So, and when we live like that, when we live by our values, whatever they are, maybe it's adventure. Well, okay, there's, if you're going to be going on trips all the time and climbing mountains, great. But you still have to, if you want a family, you have to deal with them. But yeah, you can go and do that. You can have the kind of life you want, but you have to be intentional about how you design it so it works.
Yes, that's very true. There's the saying, when people are on their deathbed, they don't wish more time at the office. They wish they had more time with their family, and that's the truth, folks. I mean, I time with my family, with Josh, is so important to me. And when Matt had my husband had Alzheimer's, and I couldn't spend the time with Josh that I wanted to, I felt really bad. So now we get to spend a lot of time together, and that is a huge value for me. So I just wanted to, share that. Make the time. And you're right, Marilyn, with the young kids today. I mean, I see people with their phones, they're not even paying attention to their children, running around, and they're not communicating with each other. I've heard of people breaking up their relationship via a text, not even face-to-face communication. And that is a problem. That will be a problem, especially when they get to a workplace situation. You have to know how to communicate. And communicate properly.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you. So many people avoid having conversations with people because they don't want to have conflict. And they think if they say, I'm not going to get that job done, or I know I said I would go to the movie with you, but I don't feel good. Can we just stay at home and watch something on TV or whatever? You don't say anything, or you go and then you're grumpy or whatever. But so many times we avoid having the hard conversations, quote unquote. Sometimes they're not hard. If we are vulnerable and we share how we really feel, and we have a healthy partner, we haven't trained our family members to suck the life out of us, then they ought to be kind about it and say, sure, we can stay home. We can go next week. But we don't want to have conversations. I'm going to be late, or I forgot it. You don't call and say, oh, my God, I forgot we were doing this. I can't make it. You just don't show because you don't want to, tell them and feel shame. But that's worse. So we really need to focus on being in communication and being willing to be, quote, vulnerable, which means having discomfort. You can't get through life without having discomfort. That's just not the way life is designed.
That's true.
Unless you just lay in bed and have people bring food into you and have a TV that you can just sit up and watch. I mean, I don't know. Life is things. Nobody thought we were going to have a war in the world right now. Nobody predicted it. Well, no one I know predicted it. Maybe the Russian CIA people did, but no one I know thought about that. So things happen, and we have to be, resilient. That's one of my values. I just did I'm giving a values exercise, as you know, Betsy, to everyone who clicks on the link and downloads it. And one of the values that I have, which isn't, I don't think, in the list. Well, I'm not sure because I have a couple versions of it. But anyway, is resilience. And more, I notice when I want to live in the energy of love, and I do, and the energy of fear gets triggered, and I notice it, I have to consciously choose to let that go and be resilient in the moment. It's not automatic yet, but it does happen. I see it, but I'm still triggered. But my goal is to be resilient and be able to reframe what's happening in a way that I don't get knocked off my center, so that I can live a life where I am compassionate and loving in the energy of love, making a difference, connecting, having fun. I can't do that if I'm in reaction all the time. So resilience
Yes.
and you know, being positive, being grateful, those are all ways to retrain my brain to react automatically from it's things are okay. I'm okay. And not in fear.
Yes, those are great values, Marilyn. And I think when people go on these dating sites, just have to bring this up. I'm not on a dating site. I'm myself. My own personal opinion is I'm too chicken, so I won't do that. But you know, these men and women both, they put on, you know, they don't say that their true selves. They don't show their true selves, and then they want to know why a relationship doesn't work. You have to be authentic from the beginning. If people can't accept you as you are, then move on to someone else. And I think people, Marilyn, are afraid to be authentic because they're like, oh, well, if they really know that about me, then they won't like me. Well, then they're not your person. You know, and I know I have to, every day is a work in progress for me. I am, well, I've always been 100% authentic, so I never fit in anywhere. I always beat to my own drum. I just never fit into a clique because I am my own person. And it takes, to me, and I used to tell this to my preschool children, you know, it takes a stronger person to be a leader. You know, when I said, when you get to be teenagers and people might be doing things that aren't right, it's up to you to say, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to follow the crowd. I'm going to stand up for what's right. And that's why, you know, I think people just get into messy relationships and situations. We have to be our authentic selves because we can't be anything else. You know, there was a saying, why be a carbon copy when you could be an original?
Yes, I was trying to think of a quote similar to that, but I couldn't think of it. Yes, that's it. We have been trained we're not enough. We're not smart enough. We're not good looking enough. We're not whatever, strong enough. We're not artistic enough. We're not as good in math as other people. We're always being compared and comparing ourselves to others, and we fall short. And even when we don't fall short, we might feel ashamed that we're better than others because we don't want people to be jealous of us or be mad at us. But the thing is, if you're not authentic, then if someone says, I love you, they don't know you, and you know that at some level. So you can't even let love in when someone says, I love you, I like you, you're so kind, and you know you're doing that just because you want them to like you. It's meaningless. The liking is meaningless. We're throwing our relationships away for the equivalent of a like or a emoji, a happy emoji.
Right?
Literally, we're robbing ourselves from those kinds of deeper connections. I don't know if I told you this, but I might have. When I was dating, I was kind of a unicorn in a way. I didn't want to get married. And my parents were married for over 50 years till my mom died. And but my dad was kind of gruff and wasn't really attentive to her. And I just looked and I thought, she really didn't marry the right guy. And he wasn't a bad man, but he was kind of gruff. And he stared down General Patton. Patton was so mad at him because my dad wouldn't obey him to have the soldiers under him put their shirts on in 100-degree weather. And my dad just looked at him but didn't respond. Patton was spitting in his face. My dad was a man of integrity, but he was not, and he did have a personality, and I'd see it like at New Year's when my parents had New Year's parties. But normally he wasn't like that. And I just felt like my mom, I wished she'd had somebody who really saw her and connected with her and was more loving. And then at the time, I grew up in the 70s and 80s when people were dating, it seemed to me a lot of people didn't really seem that happy. So I decided I wasn't going to get married. I'd have relationships. I wanted to commit to relationships, but I wasn't going to get married. And maybe I would have been with one person. I didn't know. I didn't want to get married. I wanted my freedom. And when I'd meet a guy, I would say to him very early on, maybe the first or second date, I would say, look, I am not a cook. I'm not a maid. I'm a partner. If you want a partner, great. We can create stuff together. We'll have fun. But I'm not going to be, cleaning and cooking. I mean, we can do it together, but we can hire a maid. That's my preference. But I don't like cooking and I don't like cleaning, and that's not what I'm here for. I didn't know what I was here for, but I knew that wasn't what it was. And I would say that to guys. And if they didn't like that, if they were looking for that, they wouldn't call me back. Happy day. I didn't want to be with someone. I was clear, not everything, but I was clear about that, and there was no doubt. And a lot of guys like to cook, and they were happy. So that was great for me. But I told the truth.
Right. That's that's great. That would be now, Marilyn, if I ever were to date. That would be me saying that now. I'm not your maid. I'm not your mother. You're going to take care of me, buddy.
Yeah, and you might as well mention that. Well, I don't know, but I know a lot of people, they go out to eat a lot. I mean, that's not, you have to, you could be having a horrible diet depending upon where you eat. There's a lot of places where you can eat healthy food. So we can have the kind of relationship we want. The other thing is, you've been talking kind of about red flags that women see, or men too sometimes, where people see red flags, but they want to be in a relationship. They're lonely. Get a friend to do stuff with. Don't get in a relationship with someone, a, quote, loving relationship with someone, because you don't want to be alone. You don't see the red flags. And when you don't see them, you can't discern, is this person good for me? So somebody who's really sweet to you, but you go out to eat at a restaurant and they yell at the waitress because the coffee wasn't hot. That's a red flag. Unless you're like that too, you're fire, okay then, maybe that's all right. But if you value kindness or gratitude or generosity or something that is a violation of, you need to recognize that and see it. That's why I think there's so many divorces and so much abuse, because the women didn't see the red flags. Now, maybe not all the time. People do change. Some kind of tragedy can happen in someone's life and they get angry, whatever. But in general, I think a lot of the time the signs are there and women miss them. I was never in an abusive relationship. And it's not an accident, because, I mean, I dated a guy once. He yelled. He was a New Yorker. And I said to him, you yell. He's like, he was yelling. I'm not yelling. I'm like, yes, you are.
That's the way I talk.
But it didn't last. The relationship didn't last that long because it upset my nervous system. We need to be tuning in to our own intuition and seeing, do I feel safe with this person? And sometimes people confuse being afraid with excitement, and but no, they're different. If you really tune in, I didn't like that energy around me. I wanted to be with somebody who was kind and was calmer. And you know what? Here's the truth. When I got married, I was a relationship fixer at work. I was very skilled at work, but I'd never been in a long-term relationship, never lived with a man, stayed at their houses, they stayed at mine, but I always had my own place. When I got married, I did not know how to navigate the everyday exchanges that happen in a relationship and the disappointments. Because when I would date someone, if I was disappointed or whatever and I wasn't going to break up, I would just say, hey, I'm going to go home. and I'll see you Thursday. And that would be, and I would get out of the conflict. So when I talked about avoiding conflict, I've done that. I did that in my love relationships. But what happened was my husband, who was divorced twice, he wanted our marriage to work. So he worked it. He apologized first all the time for, I don't know, at least 2 years. And we never screamed. We didn't hit each other. But, when someone says, like, hey, why did you do that? Why are you criticizing me? And we get in this little scuffle kind of thing, and then that'd be it. He'd walk down the hall to my office, and he would say, I'm sorry, I was a jerk. And then most of the time I would say, I'm sorry, I was a jerk too. But he did it first. Not anymore after 23 years. But it took me a while to and if he hadn't done that, I don't think we would have made it, honestly. I don't think we would have made it. But he had 5 kids, and when we married, they were 15 to 25, and some of them lived in the area in Dallas where I moved to. I moved to be with him, so he wouldn't be traveling away from his kids every week, and he knew that I loved them and I was great with them, and he didn't want me to leave. So he worked hard to make sure that he would restore the relationship. And he had a lot of skills, and so did I, but I didn't have that skill to begin. So somebody, if your partner doesn't do it, but if they never learn, and if they're always coming at you with anger and you feel afraid, that isn't a good relationship. I don't care how good the sex is. And, so many women get abused. The man doesn't abuse them right away. It builds. It happens over time. And then they apologize and you forgive them. And, it's horrible if you have kids. I never went through that. I have huge compassion. I've witnessed it with people. It's very, very hard. But the longer you stay, the harder it is. You have to get help for that. So if you're dating, don't settle. Don't settle. I got married at 49. My longest relationships before that were 2 years. But I found somebody who saw me as a capable, professional, competent woman. He saw that I was loving. Our sense of humor, we laughed so much together. It was an amazing relationship, and it still is like that. I mean, it's 23 years later, but we're still the same with each other. But I waited, and I was willing to not get married. And if I'd wanted kids, which, hey, I got them, and I have 8 grandkids. Lucky me. But if you really want kids, you don't have to be married to somebody and be stuck with them. You can figure it out, or adopt or something. But don't go into a relationship with someone when there's red flags. And when your friends and family tell you, everyone is saying it, hey, pay attention, open your eyes.
Yes, definitely. And I think women who were abused at home and are pleasers tend to attract the narcissist. There, I said it.
Yes. Yes, they do.
Type people.
Those guys know. Those people know. They know how to find women. Well, whatever it is, but mostly it's men, I think. But the men, they know, they can recognize a woman who will be a pleaser. She overlooks things. She's kind. She's working hard to please them. Yeah, they can be nice for months or a year to suck you into their lair, and they do. So you have to be, but when you're, I was confident. I mean, not like I have doubts. I know I'm not the smartest or the anythingest. I mean, there's relationship coaches that Oprah has in her magazine and has interviewed them. She's probably never going to call me ever. So I know there's people who are more famous than me, have more books, but that doesn't mean that I don't have value. I just have to find my people. And we all do. We have to find our people. And we don't have to give up who we are. And it's not
That's
easy.
true.
I do know that. But when if you make a life you love with people who love you, that's a great life. That's a great life. And you're more likely to attract a healthy partner when you're living a life you love.
That's right. Yes.
Otherwise, it's going to otherwise you're attracting those other people who are hanger-oners and users and abusers. And they're wounded too, but that doesn't mean you stay with them. That doesn't mean you stay with them.
That's right. I have a saying, it's better to be alone and be happy than to be with someone who makes you feel that you're alone and be unhappy.
Oh gosh, yes. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
so
for sure.
True. That is so true, yeah.
Marilyn, tell the audience, I know you're going to, you have a special offer for them.
Yes. So the values, this values exercise. So we talked about why knowing your values is important so that you know how you want to treat others and how you want to be treated, which fits in with this conversation we just had too. If kindness is important to you and you're with someone who's not kind, that doesn't work for you. So you're going to, Betsy's going to have a link for you to click on. You'll download this values exercise. It'll take maybe 30, 45 minutes, maybe longer. It's worth it. I was saying, I know I download things sometimes and I don't do them. I really, really hope that you do this. If you're stuck, you can message me. Go to my website, www.loveleadconnect.com //contact. So go to my contact page and send me a message. Hey, I downloaded the values exercise. I'm not clear about X. I'm having trouble. I feel like I don't have the right values, whatever. And we'll connect. I might end up doing, if there's interest, I might do a workshop or just have people, we'll walk through the worksheet together. I'm happy to do that. There's some interest in that. But here's the thing. Your values are a journey. It's not like, I'm just going to pop out my values. Resistance, love and compassion, connection, making a difference, fun, playful, whatever. No, you don't just, you gotta create them and then look and see, am I living that? And if you're not, that's okay. It's all information to help tune you towards what you really want, how you really want to live. If you say, I want to make a difference, but anytime you do, you don't feel comfortable, maybe that's not the thing, at least right now. Maybe you want to be of service. So maybe you, go to the hospital and rock babies instead of go out and save the world or raise money for a charity you believe in. Well, you can do whatever you want, but when you do it, you want to know you're living aligned with your values, and you matter. And when we're not aligned, we're disconnected from ourselves, and other people are disconnected too. If you say you're kind, you value kindness, and then you get angry all the time, you're a liar. So either you get coaching to work on that more actively, or pick a value that is going to work for you and get you on that path. Maybe you'll just be like, I'll observe myself with kindness. You don't have to say or do anything. Or maybe you apologize when you act out. You apologize. You don't know how to turn it around yet, but at least you acknowledge it so people know you know. I'm sorry. I'm working on not reacting, and I'm not doing a very good job. I hope you'll forgive me. And then, do something to learn the new skills. But, there's a time when you know you're living your values and you're proud of yourself. You know who you are. You know how to make decisions because you act consistent with what you say is important. That is a powerful way to live life, and it's attractive too.
Yes, it is. And sometimes we outgrow and find out what no longer serves us.
Yes.
You have to let it go. And and you're much better for it. Thank you so much, Marilyn, for coming on. Can you tell the audience your website to check out your website?
Yeah, www.loveleadconnect.com, and it'll be in the link because that's the main part of the website where people are going to download the values exercise. And then if you can see that, you could benefit maybe from learning more about the relationships that matter. Go to my website, go to Work With Me, and there's a button at the top that says brief chat with Marilyn. So you can just have a conversation with me. Tell me what you're dealing with. I'll see if I think the relationship school could be a fit for you, or private coaching, or maybe there'll be some workshops that I'm going to be offering this year, and you can, that might be something you're interested in. And you can also sign up for the Breakthrough Discovery Session, which is the first part where you talk about your challenges. I don't even remember exactly what it is now. It's definitely the challenges, and it might be the relationship skills. But, we can jump on a call. You fill all that information out. I think it does have the relationship assessment. And you rate yourself, and then we get on a call, and we'll have a conversation. And you can see if you think that working on those skills would make a difference in your life. And if so, great. And if not, great. I do those complimentary. My passion is to have people have healthy relationships and families stay together and live from love. Because if we were all choosing love more and living from love, our world would be different.
That's true. That's very true. Thank you so much, Marilyn Sutherland, for coming on Chatting with Betsy today. Thanks for your passion in helping others. I love it. And I want to encourage the audience to go on Marilyn's website and take advantage of the free offer. I mean, why not? I like things for free, and see if working with Marilyn works for you.
Yeah, It could change your life, knowing your values. And even if you know them, like you had said, Betsy, we change and we grow. Those might not be the ones that are going to be guiding you now. Often as we elevate, we need to elevate our values or shift them so they're more in line with who we are now as we mature. So anyway, I'm so excited. It's so much fun to talk to you. I love you. You are actually so you've learned so much in your life, as all of us have, as we age. But you really know a lot about relationships, and it's so much fun to share with you because you often say things that are like, oh, I was thinking I might say that, and it comes out of your mouth. It's fun. It's fun to be with you and have these conversations. And, I hope that it makes a difference for the people who are listening. I would love to know. Or what do you want to hear about?
Yes. Well, thank you, Marilyn. I'll have to have you on again, and before it's a whole nother year.
That'd be great.
But I don't go by a script. Folks. I just, talking about being authentic. I just have an informal conversation. Yes, I know there's hosts that do a more polished, so-called job, but you know what? I'm me. Well, you hear? That's me. This is 100% Betsy Wurzel. This is who I am. Sometimes I even cry on the show. So I guess it brings up things that make me verklempt. I mean, what can I can't help it. I don't apologize for being me anymore. I'm 64 years old. I'm done apologizing for how I am. This is me, folks. And I want to thank you, Marilyn, for coming on. Folks, please read the blog because the information about Marilyn and how to get in touch with her, the free offer, will all be in the blog. And I want to thank Jeannie White, our station manager, Passion World Talk Radio, who writes the blog and produces the show. And I want to thank Lillian Caldwell, who's CEO, Passion World Talk Radio, who makes this all possible. And if you missed any of this podcast, you can catch it again wherever you hear your favorite podcast. Subscribe to Chatting with Betsy so you don't miss my great shows. And, yes, I will say they are great because I have great guests. And I learned to toot my own horn, toot, toot. And I am proud of my guest. And check the show from last year with Marilyn when she talks about her book and other issues that we had talked about, other topics. And I just want to thank you, the listeners, for listening. Please share this podcast to help other people. That's what I'm here for. That's my mission, and that's my vision. That's what Chatting with Betsy is all about. And I am on CastBox, Spreaker, Spotify, just to name a few. And, folks, as I always say, in a world where you could be anything, please be kind because we need it. Until we chat again, this is Betsy Wurzel, your host of Chatting with Betsy on Passionate World Talk Radio. Bye-bye now.
Are you looking for an Internet talk radio station for your podcast? Look no further. At the helm of Passionate World Talk Radio are two women that want to provide a spot for you and your podcast to be heard. There are many other places for your podcast, but PWTR has the audience. You will not be disappointed. Our station has been on the Internet for the past 16 years. Call us for more information. 484-364-1032 or text Jeannie White, station manager, at PHECONNECTSHOW@gmail.com for podcast show details. Thank you for listening to Passionate World Talk Radio. You can listen to this program all over again by going over to https://passionateworldtalkradio.com. You can also hear it on Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Alexa, AMFM247.com every Tuesday evening between 8 and 9 p.m. YouTube, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, and all the other podcast directories one can find on the Internet.